Hey guys, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I am still playing in like version 0.25. This is footage from a few months ago. I'm still trying to get through all of it. And kind of a lull in my videos, so I'm going to do a commentary on this. I know that it's very old gameplay at this point. I still am playing in this version because although they have done a lot of updates to various components of the game, like added biomes to all the planets and stuff. I kind of had enough invested in this that I wanted to kind of finish a few projects and stuff, and one of them was using this science vessel that I built. So the general idea with this thing is I'm still playing with the Interstellar mod, all the old mods that I still have. I've kept this save going. The general idea with this is that I want to visit all the biomes on the Mun and on Minmus so that I can gather the requisite science to keep my upgrades going. I don't know exactly when I'm going to stop playing with this. I know like people probably don't really care anymore because it's, you know, so many versions outdated, but I don't care. I want to keep the continuity, and I kind of don't feel like starting again with brand new everything. One of the ideas I had for this mission was I remembered that I had launched quite a few of these two-stage craft to the Mun. They were used to gather science, and they had extra fuel. These were the first things that I actually visited. This, I think this might be the very first one. I don't remember. I put flags here so I could know. But the idea was that they still had fuel left. They had like a reserve of extra fuel so that I could choose my landing sites and stuff. And that just got left behind, of course, as the stage here, sort of like what would have happened with Apollo. I mean, obviously this is a different design, but I realized with the Kerbal attachment system, I could come and collect the fuel, which would save time doing this mission. I won't have to actually refuel in orbit, I don't think, because I can just plan my various locations, because I think I landed 7 of these on the Mun. So, you know, I can, I'm going down head first here. That's pretty bright. But, anyway, I believe there's enough fuel here that if I land, refuel, go to a different site, and then land at one of the other stages again, I can probably pretty much get this mission done with the fuel that's just sitting here on the Mun not being utilized anyway. So we're going to go ahead and do all of our science experiments here first, get all that dealt with. So just kind of running around, clicking on stuff, falling over, definitely taking a little bit of getting used to here. Once we get all that science done, I can go ahead and store everything on the ship that's going to be coming back. I'm just checking at this point to see if there was any science that didn't get transmitted on this, and kind of just taking a look at it. It's one of the things I like about this game is that stuff like can be left behind. How cool would it be in real life to go visit the actual one of the Apollo landing sites? If technology was good enough, I'm sure people would really like to go do that. Of course, if you believe that people have actually been to the moon, like most sane people do, but you know, there are people who don't think it was all hoaxed and whatever. But I guess I don't know how you'd convince those people, because they'd probably say it was a hoax if you sent people to go check in on the landing sites too. But anyway, this thing is going to end up returning with a ludicrous amount of science, because it's basically collecting all of the science, and then it's going to come back, and that means I'm going to have to transfer all this over to a command pod and all that too, but to get it back down to Kerbin, because this ship is not returning to Kerbin. This is not meant to actually re-enter the atmosphere. But I'm going to be using these pipe connectors and the Kerbal attachment system to transfer the fuel, and I guess I might as well transfer some food supplies and stuff like life support. I think I actually have enough life support on this thing that it didn't need it anyway, but can't hurt to transfer a little bit of extra. And almost knocked the ship over. That was kind of glitchy. So head on back up here, get the other pipe attachment, and we'll go ahead and attach that. So the Kerbal attachment system, I think, is one of the most fantastic things ever, really, in this game. I love the Kerbal attachment system. Alright, so he walks so funny in the low gravity, carrying that thing on his back. So it doesn't really matter where I slap this thing on, we'll slap it on somewhere, and then these two ships will technically be docked together, and we can transfer whatever we want. So go ahead and grab this pipe here. And cool beans. And I think, yeah, the spotlights turned back on the old ship, even though... Oh, did they? I don't know if they did. No, I guess they didn't. I don't know if power gets transferred between this or not. So, it looks like... How much fuel is left on board? It's all very confusing. It looks like a lot of fuel is left on board. So, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to top the tank off completely, I don't think, with that. But we'll take what we can. I don't think I have enough space to take all the fuel that's available. Kind of over-spec'd that mission, I guess, but it ended up coming in handy here. And like I said, in future missions here, we'll be using more fuel. This didn't use as much fuel because it hasn't taken off again, so we'll be taking more fuel out of those tanks. I don't know why it's completely full. That seems kind of... Maybe it didn't remember. I don't know. But I guess we're actually getting a lot of fuel out. I take it back. We probably will end up utilizing pretty much all the fuel that's left here. And, I don't know. There's just something very fun about stuff being left behind. I like debris, too. Like, when you have a mission that crashes or something, and you can go visit debris. I don't know. Like, if anything survives, it's just kind of fun. It's an excellent game. I should really probably... I haven't even played the version 1 point whatever. But it seems like they mainly... I know they added biomes to everything, and that I don't know if they're even really updating as much as they used to. I should probably look into that. I haven't been very active on the forums or anything. I kind of haven't done anything with this game in a while. But every time we do this, we'll carry the stupid connector back and walk all funny. Go back up the ladder and slap it in the little container. And then we're going to figure out where we're going next. So... I don't remember off the top of my head how many biomes there are on the Mun. Of course, when I was playing this, I actually was, I looked that up, so I made sure that we visited every one of them. What else am I doing here? I guess I was going to go for a little bit more of a walk. Probably take a soil sample, yeah, and just deal with that just in case. Just wanted to make sure I had my bases covered and stuff. But we're back out at a solar probe here, making some course adjustments and gathering some science from this thing. I don't know, this is kind of an experimental propulsion system still. It doesn't seem to work very well. A lot of the interstellar propulsion is kind of complicated and difficult to get working right. This is still running on a regular engine now, but I end up having a little bit of problems with the I think it's a thermal engine that's on this thing, but it is what it is. And of course I'm still using the remote control thing, so that means that I still need to use MechJeb to actually execute the course changes and stuff, because the signal delay is built in and it gets kind of ridiculous way out here. So definitely glad to have the autopilot deal with that kind of stuff. But anyway, we're just transmitting some science back, gathering whatever science we can from this thing, and we get enough to actually go ahead and unlock something. So we're going to go ahead and purchase another tier of technology here. Kind of running out of stuff to purchase, which I guess maybe that will be when I stop playing. I'm going to have to look into the changes that have actually been made with the newer version, because I don't know, I just don't want to do all the same stuff all over again, like the basic stuff. So, I mean, it'd be kind of nice to have an economy and all that stuff, but I just kind of don't want to do all the basic, like, oh, put a space station around Kerbal again and all that, but we'll see. So, anyway, back on the Mun, we've transferred what we're going to transfer, and it's time to head off to the new place. Annoyingly, I forgot to put up the ladder. That kind of bothers me. I don't know why. It doesn't really matter, but it just kind of irritates me. So, we've kind of got a general idea of where we're going, so I'm just going to angle up, and the idea is we're going to actually have MechJeb execute all these landings. So I'm just trying to get enough altitude that MechJeb will have time to make the course corrections that I want to make, because I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. I am concerned about the terrain, because a lot of these places I haven't been yet, and it's really still kind of hard to tell exactly what kind of elevations you're looking at when you really try to pinpoint something. so I was a little bit concerned about the thing tipping over. Uh, it's got a fairly wide base, but it's also kind of tall. The center of mass is mostly down low, but of course when the fuel depletes, that does change. So one of the handy things here is that I have the map up, the ScanSat map, so I can see all the regions and whatnot and get an idea of where we actually need to go, and then I can kind of pick and choose my landing site from there. I really like the satellite mapping stuff. It's just it's all, any little mod that adds a reason to do stuff is always fun for me, especially because some of these places I doubt I'll ever visit with manned crews at this point, just because this is a really outdated version of the game, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep this going. So it takes forever to do missions and all that stuff. I really like having all the requirements of the life support and everything too, so I should probably look and see what's actually been updated to the new version of the game. But anyway, we're just trying to get kind of a nice ballistic trajectory going here so that I can get high enough that I'm not going to crash, first of all, and then also that like I said, MechJeb will be able to pick and choose our landing site here. So we're going ahead and making some more adjustments here, getting up to a pretty high altitude and trying to kind of pick our landing site. That looks pretty good. It looks like it might be mountainy, which is always scary, but you know, gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Exploration is not safe. On some of the other planets, of course, it won't be quite as hard because I can be a little bit more choosy with my landing sites, because I won't be dealing with biomes in this version, because I don't have biomes for other planets. There's just Kerbal, Minmus, and the Mun that have biomes in the version that I'm playing in still, so I can just kind of choose a flat spot and call it good. And I'm kind of curious, like, they must have had to rescale all the science and stuff, I would think, that you gather, because if every planet has biomes, and they had to change something, because it seems like you'd get way too much science for the vanilla game, because it's really not hard to get enough science to get everything in the vanilla game anyway. So I don't know. So we're just kind of cruising in. I really like the design of this ship. I spent a lot of time designing the ship. That's part of the reason that I'm uploading this anyway, even though it's old, is because I'm actually kind of proud of this design. It's kind of ugly in its own way, but the fitting everything that I wanted to fit on this, having enough fuel in terms of instruments, and then having enough fuel to actually be able to land, take off, land again, and be like semi-autonomous. Of course, like, I still do need to refuel from those pods that are down on the Mun, but there was a lot of design challenges. There's a lot of parts on this thing, and I like you know, the instrument packs that I have here that give you the little fold-out instruments and stuff. It's just, I don't know, there's something very cool about this design as far as I'm concerned. I would like to figure out a way to get ships that can land, I guess, horizontally rather than vertically. But there are landing gear for that, but the problem you run into is just that, you know, unlike in movies and stuff, it's a lot harder to have enough thrust to land that way. Like I guess like a VTOL, I guess, but I don't know. It's just kind of a difficult challenge, because you know, most of my thrust needs to be up and down, like, you know, in line with the ship, and then there's, you know, it's a lot easier to get all your center of masses aligned this way, and then to top it all off, the way that the landing gear works is always kind of finicky anyway, and then you're like dealing with most of the parts are cylinders, so trying to get landing gear on the sides is kind of hard. So I don't know. It's probably more realistic that a ship would land this way, but it definitely doesn't have the cool sci-fi element to it. I will probably end up modifying this ship so that it can be attached to like a larger ship, so that it can, I don't know which planets it could visit. It could probably go to Duna maybe and take off again. I know it could go to Ike, but, you know, have this be part of that mission, so that I feel kind of bad if I have to retire this ship after it's done, you know, just the Mun mission and then the Minmus mission. But it's definitely going to, assuming I don't crash it, it's definitely going to be surveying the entire Mun and then return back to a space station switch out crews, refuel, resupply, all that stuff, bring the science back, and then launch another mission out to Minmus, because Minmus actually has even more science available, as far as I know, than the Mun does. But I'm kind of partial to the Mun, just because it's, you know, the moon, and you get pretty views of Kerbal and all that stuff from here. So I don't know. On the way down, I'm just kind of checking with stuff to see if we have arrived over the designated landing area. I'm also trying to make sure that I get the low altitude science, because you know, I'm not gonna have an opportunity to do some of this again, and all of that. So I don't know, like the ship probably can't really be adapted to do too much else, though. I'm gonna have to think about that, just because of its design. Like, it's not super well suited. It's kind of heavy. I mean, I guess it would be good to, like I said, land on Duna or something if it has the Delta V to do that. Landing isn't as much of a problem. You can use parachutes, but you still need some fuel because the atmosphere is so thin. But taking off again would be the hard thing. Those nuclear engines do not provide a tremendous amount of thrust, and even then, we don't have a huge amount of total Delta V available on this thing either. So I'm gonna have to do some math before we think of trying to do something crazy like that, because I don't know if it'll work, and I'd rather not crash and have to send a rescue mission. Like I said, it takes a long time to get places, and I have a pretty strong feeling that you just end up dying. Rescue missions would probably not be super realistic, but I'd have to try. I stopped using a lot of the add-on landing gear. If you notice, these are stock landing gear, because even though a lot of the add-on stuff is cooler, I had a horrific incident which will be in, I don't think I've uploaded that yet. It'll be in one of the upcoming videos, involving some of those mod landing gear and their questionable strength. It's not even their strength, like, it's the connection. They glitch out and kind of like wobble through the ship and stuff like that, and it causes a lot of issues, and I don't remember if that's actually been uploaded yet. If it has, it's just with my Kethane miner. It had some incidents occur, and it required a lot of redesign. I like this area that we're landing in. We are on a little bit of a hill, but I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. This thing's pretty stable. As long as it's not on like a 45-degree angle, it's pretty good, you know. And this was one of the landing sites that does not have any ship near me, and there is kind of a lot of pressure to actually get the landing good enough. It's one of the reasons I'm using MechJeb as well, because if we don't land close enough to the fuel from those other ships, we could be stranded on the Mun. So anyway, I'm gonna continue doing this. When we come back, we'll probably wrap up the Mun mission. I want to thank you guys for watching. See you next time.